had an update here with the Conglomerates. Had it. I usually consider myself a pretty open-minded person. I enjoy to, open my mind every once in a while. But I've reached a boiling point lately. Yeah, I have. With Instagram's feed change. I'm done with it. And I'm not the only one who feels this way, okay? Society agrees. There's a whole movement to make Instagram stop looking like this. Kylie Jenner even said so. So if you haven't gotten the update yet, basically Instagram made their feed so that you can only see one post at a time in the same way you look at TikTok. But with Instagram, it's kind of confusing because there's pictures too with no music or noises behind them. So I get confused if it's a photo or a video, and then I feel defeated and lied to because I'm waiting for this photo to start moving. And then it just doesn't. It just sits there. And this isn't the first time Instagram has copied TikTok. Oh, no, it hasn't. Actually, this isn't the first time that Instagram has copied anything. Actually, this happens all the time. With all the social media apps, they just keep freaking copying each other. Once upon a time, Snapchat made stories. And then Instagram eventually copied the stories from Snapchat. And then Twitter copied Instagram and Snapchat and added stories to their platform too, which were so stupid, but we'll get to those later. Then Instagram copied TikTok with Reels, and then copied Snapchat again by letting you DM photos that disappear after they've been seen once. And then TikTok copied everyone with the stories. And TikTok itself is kind of just a supercharged version of Vine, which was acquired by Twitter, which is now doing these Twitter Spaces, which are a carbon copy of Clubhouse. So it kind of feels like these apps are always just kind of copying each other and ripping each other off and adding all these new features that feel pretty pointless a lot of the time. But if it keeps going at this rate, are all the social media apps just going to become the same thing? Are they already kind of the same thing? I mean, at least right now, they all share a lot of the same features. I mean, tell me which social media app has a news feed, disappearing posts, private messaging, live streaming, kind of all of them. I mean, besides Twitter, because they kind of gave up on a few of those. But you get my point. So why the hell do they keep copying each other? Why? I think this stuff is pretty interesting. I know it's not what I typically talk about on the channel, but hey, if you're a musician, you're gonna have to use social media. Get used to it. So I think it's important to talk about. I also think it's very fascinating. So let's do a little deep dive on the history of social media apps ripping each other off and if it's a good thing or not. So why the hell do they keep copying each other in the first place? Well, I'm so glad you asked. There's this book called Building the Agile Business Through Digital Transformation by Neil Perkin and Peter Abraham. And they made a pretty interesting point. Basically, they're describing the situation as a shift in power from the organizations to the consumers. And they call it transformed consumer context or something like that, something fancy. And now more than ever, our expectations as consumers are high, really high. In the sense that once we experience something in one form, I don't know, Amazon same day delivery or Uber, we expect that same level of convenience in other tools or services or companies. So the theory is basically consumers are oh, if I can get this there, I want it there too. So obviously they're going to want stories on Twitter if they want them on Instagram, right? Well, no, it doesn't really work that way. It's not that cut and dry of a formula, but it seems like that's sort of the mindset a lot of these conglomerates. But then you look at Instagram and Facebook that are owned by the same company, and it's just why would they need to copy each other? And they also have WhatsApp. Why? Why can't you just make the different platforms a little bit more unique? Why do they need to all have the same thing? Well, it's interesting because Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp are pretty much all used very differently. I mean, at least until recently, but they're still used differently, So if Facebook wants to test a stories feature, for example, they have 3 different markets that they can test the feature on, as opposed to Snapchat. When they want to add something new, they only have Snapchat to test it on. It gives them a little bit of a competitive advantage. They can see what works on the certain platforms and maybe adapt them to be a little more unique to each one. I mean, I don't use Facebook or WhatsApp, but at least Instagram. You can see how Instagram stories have evolved, right? From their conception, compared to Snapchat stories. Instagram stories now are a little different. They're a little different. you can like them. You would think that like, okay, why use the copied version of something when the original is better? I mean, that's kind of what's happening with TikTok versus Reels versus YouTube Shorts right now. I mean, people mainly go to TikTok to look at their stuff if they were on TikTok in the first place, right? Most of the time. But these copycat features, they catch on sometimes, like in ways that you wouldn't even believe that the copycat isn't the original. Like, Instagram did not invent stories. I don't know if that's like, obviously everyone knows that, but like Snapchat did. Snapchat started the story thing and then Instagram took it. And I remember when they first introduced Instagram stories, and I remember all the stories that people were posting on Instagram were saying like, why does Instagram have stories? Like, what's this stupid bullshit? You know, people just being like, what the hell is this? That's what all the stories were. It was very meta. But Instagram taking the stories feature honestly like worked really well in their favor and is kind of a genius idea, because at the time, what was Instagram lacking? They were lacking a repost option. They were lacking a way for the users to like share things they liked that other people posted, you know, give them a quick shout out without permanently reposting them on their feed, you know? Or just showing like a quick candid moment that maybe they don't want to just like put on their feed forever. And Instagram was also like relatively kind of late to the live stream game. I mean, Twitter and Facebook were first to do their live things, and then Instagram came in and did theirs. And now Instagram Live is more popular than both of them. Twitter was interesting though, because with Twitter, at least if I remember correctly, you had to download like a separate app called Periscope if you wanted to live stream on Twitter, which is just like, okay, good luck making people download an app. You know, no one wants to download another app. Like, right? Also, believe it or not, Twitter started hashtags. Like, they were the first to do it. And now, like, you barely even see hashtags on Twitter. Like, you never see them. Maybe unless, like, you're in the Bachelor universe or something. Then people hashtag. But, like, no one... Who uses hashtags on Twitter anymore? No one. And where do we see hashtags more now? Oh, yeah, TikTok. But also... freaking Instagram. Like, when you think about it, it's kind of miraculous how many times Instagram just like ripped a feature from another app, but did it in an effective way that it caught on and sort of became where people use it the most. And that's hard to do because a lot of the time it feels like the original version of something is the most popular. Like Reels, for example. I mean, it's kind of changing now, but it still doesn't feel as distinguished from TikTok. It just feels like a TikTok ripoff still. A little bit. And I think that's because, like, what's the legitimate reason for Instagram to introduce Reels? You know what I mean? Like, why does Instagram need Reels? You can already share videos on Instagram, like in the feed. And they have stories now, so it is like there's a repost option. There's sort of like a way that you can discover things outside of the things you already follow. And they already had the Explore page. I mean, I don't know how many people really surfed that, though. I never really surfed my Explore page besides when it was full of hedgehogs. But we are kind of seeing a shift in this. I mean, now that Instagram changed their feed and made it so that more things come up on it that you don't even follow. But also, Reels is like so much better at paying creators than TikTok is, you know, like through the app. Reels has the bonus program that I don't know like what qualifies you to get invited to it, but basically it's like for every, I don't know, 85 million views you get, you can get $8,500 maximum bonus. Which when you listen to that, it's like, that's such bullshit. But they give you a month span to get those views. And it still pays more than TikTok. Like, it still pays so much more because also Reels is kind of better at consistently pushing your videos. Like, TikTok is so, like, if you do anything out of your wheelhouse, good luck. It's not good. No one's going to see it. No one. Like, the difference in views is so drastic. Whereas with Instagram, it's showing it to people that follow you. So you can be a little bit more experimental on Reels and people are still going to see it. Which, in a way, I think is making Reels sort of get closer and closer to standing out and making it a bit more favorable for creators, at least, because it pays more than TikTok, and it's not as, like, up and downy as TikTok is. I don't think Reels is 100% there yet, but I could see Reels becoming distinguished enough from TikTok that it could play like a major role competitively. I mean, it already is, but like even more so because, I mean, it pays creators better. People are going to have more drive to post more frequently on Reels than they are on TikTok because they want to get, you know, more money. Also, it doesn't fluctuate as much. Like when you do something different on TikTok, it will tank. Like there are times where I'll post the same thing on TikTok that I do to Instagram. And if it does bad on TikTok, it'll almost always do better on Instagram. Like so much better. Consistently. And then there's times where like I'll post something on TikTok and it'll blow up right away and it won't blow up as quickly on Reels, but eventually the algorithm will pick it up And it will do just as good as it did on TikTok. It'll just take a little bit more time. So I think Instagram's algorithm for the Reels is getting a lot better. And TikTok better figures their shit out. Because, at least for creators, Reels is like, in my experience, better. Like, when I post a lot on Reels, I notice that my page steadily does grow. Like, it steadily goes up, like, a lot compared to when I just post on my feed. Whereas with TikTok, like, I could have all of these posts, like, blow up, but I kind of have been stagnating. You know what I mean? And also, there's just features in Reels that are the knockoffs of TikTok, but that are literally better, like just more intuitive. Like editing text in Reels is so much easier because the text that you're editing always shows up at the bottom of the screen so that you don't have to like wait for it to appear if you want it on the screen for a certain amount of time to edit it. Like it's always there. You could just adjust it. Same with music selection, you know, like you have the whole song at your disposal on Reels and you can pick any section in that one clip. Whereas on TikTok, there's only like a minute clip and you have to like search to find like the best section, search through like 3 different sound pages. It's just like, why can't you just put the whole song on TikTok if you could do it on Instagram? So yeah, I guess that's not a great example. Like right now it's changing, but at the beginning though, Reels was just so stupid. It was just like bootleg TikTok. And Snapchat also did their own little like bootleg TikTok thing called Spotlight that just like never caught on. Like every time I actually tried posting on it and it never even let me post in the beginning, like to begin with. Like it just didn't let me post. TikTok stories also, like they suck. Like why? Why do we need stories? Because it's just like you can't even repost posts that you like on TikTok onto your story because there's a separate thing. There's a separate way to repost. Like actually, what is the point of these TikTok stories? And they always perform worse. Like every single TikTok story I've seen just does not perform well because the algorithm just like isn't pushing them. And it's also just like throwaway content. Like, why would I want to see someone's, like, throwaway content on my For You page? TikTok stories are pointless. Like, they're infuriatingly pointless. Almost as bad as Twitter stories. Twitter stories, like, don't even get me started on fleets. Also with Twitter, they have such a bigger user base than Clubhouse did. So you would think that when they introduced like the Twitter Spaces, that they would be a lot more popular than Clubhouse because they have such a wide range of people that would want to join them. And it's not invite only. Not really. Do people really use Twitter Spaces? Kind of, but it's just not to the same level of hype that I feel like Clubhouse was at the height of its popularity. Besides McDonald's drive-thru roleplay, that Twitter Space will go down in history. That was like the only one that mattered.
Y'all take cash, right?
We do Apple Pay, we do cash, and we do card. No,
Pancakes.
they're pancakes. They are pancakes.
Bueno, ok. Le quiero un cafecito cubano.
I have the BTS meal with the Sprite and extra Cajun sauce. I'm going to give you 7.
Hurry up.
7 photo cards each, I know.
That is the only time I saw thousands of people interact with the Twitter Space. That Twitter Space was so legendary, it has like press about it. And Twitter copying Clubhouse, that is not the first time that a little like baby app came up and then a big conglomerate just came and swallowed it. House Party. Who remembers House Party? Am I right, ladies? Ladies. House Party, House Party. It was like that video chatting app where you could kind of just hop into random video chats. It was cute. I remember using it a lot in high school, and then I kind of forgot about it after like a couple months. And Facebook was trying really hard to acquire it, but then all of a sudden they backed out of it because they thought it was like too risky or something. But yeah, Facebook tried to swallow them. And Snapchat even. Like Facebook tried so hard to acquire Snapchat, like so hard. We're offering like billions of dollars. And the creators were just like, no. And look at Instagram even. Facebook bought Instagram. Instagram didn't start as something that was owned by Meta. You know, they just took it. And now there's BeReal too. No one's bought BeReal yet. It'll be interesting to see where that app goes though. I wonder how long it'll keep its down-to-earthness. Because it's like, you know, you're just sharing like a one-a-day moment with your friends. It feels like a very healthy form of social media where it's just like, you can literally post once a day. Everyone posts their little moment once a day. And it's really cute and wholesome. And sometimes random people add you on it, and that's just part of the fun of it. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes. You're probably wondering, how do they all get away with this? Like, with copyright laws, how the hell do all the conglomerates get away with just copying each other and taking the small apps and copying them? How the hell they do it? Well, here's the thing. I mean, if Twitter and like Facebook and Instagram, whatever, if they're smart enough to like copy each other and copy other smaller apps that pop up and gain popularity, then, well, let me tell you, if the conglomerates are smart enough to copy each other and then copy the smaller apps that pop up and gain a lot of popularity, there's no way they don't have teams of lawyers, like heaps of them, like piles of lawyers, expensive lawyers, to make sure that the features they copy are just different enough from the other apps that they're copying that they won't get in any copyright trouble. Look at Twitter. They never even called their stories, they called them fleets. And Instagram, they're called Reels. YouTube, they're called Shorts. It's like you can't trademark a short video format, right? If that were the case, then like would YouTube be copying like TV because they put videos like to society? No, that's just not the same. That's actually just like a horrible analogy. But you get my point. You get it. So yeah, I don't think that the current IP laws really protect social media apps that much. So even if these apps wanted to, they can't really prevent other apps from just like taking their idea, making it a little different, and then putting it on their own platform. Is that kind of lame and stupid? Yeah. But the only times that these copycats work is when they are different and they are unique enough. Like look at Twitter Spaces, for example. The only one that really took off, at least from my experience, listen, if I'm wrong, tell me, but the only one that really, really took off is the McDonald's drive-through roleplay. Think about it. Why? Well, Clubhouse and like these Twitter Spaces, they all have this reputation of like all these like businessmen and like tech people and journalists like meeting to talk about these niche business topics, and it's like super serious and business and like professional. So then when you infiltrate the professional vibe with McDonald's drive-through roleplay, it's going to take off. You're going against the grain. If more people did stuff like that on Twitter, I think Twitter Spaces would get bigger. I think that if Twitter paid people to do these McDonald's drive-through role plays, maybe a Wendy's one, I think Twitter Spaces would be more popular because Twitter, I mean, it's a place where people are angry and mean and like super serious, but it's also a place full of people who just shitpost. Why don't we take what if Clubhouse was for shitposters and make that the Twitter Spaces? I think it would be a lot more successful. So yeah, are all the social media apps the same? Are we going to answer that question? No, they're not, because each app, although they have really similar features to each other and they keep copying each other, I feel like they still have different vibes. The difference lies within the vibes. Like Instagram, I feel like is kind of like a new age Tumblr, but with way less authenticity. And with shopping. Twitter's like a lot of grumpy people and funny nonsense, and a lot of people copying each other, whether they're jumping on like, I don't know, a hate train or just like a meme trend that dies out within like 48 hours till the other trend comes in. And basically everyone's saying the same thing, but putting a little twist on it. That's Twitter. Snapchat's for middle schoolers and people like doing illegal things, and probably one of the most shameful ways to consume news. TikTok is more of like the cinematic experience. It's like a cesspool for oversharing and high art, but it really fosters this sense of authenticity that Instagram, for example, never really had. Look at how Coachella was documented this year, for example. Look at the Coachella posts on Instagram, and then do me a favor and look at them on TikTok. Very different. TikTok's gonna give you the rundown of like what it's actually like, and like the sweat and like the passing out and like the lack of water and like mid food that's really expensive and like tears. And then Instagram is like right when you get there, you take like pretty pictures while you still look pretty. It doesn't show the disheveledness. Then there's Facebook, which is just like stupid. LinkedIn, just a bunch of nerds in suits. And then there's BeReal. Ugh. BeReal. Oh, it's so real. I love to be real. It's really fun. One of the most buggiest apps I've probably ever touched in my life. Like, goddamn, get a grip. But at the same time, it's cool to like, once a day, you see what all your friends are doing at any given moment. It's like, oh, time to be real. And then everyone takes the picture, except when the app glitches. But I am really, really curious to see how, you know, the other social media apps will maybe copy BeReal and which one will be the first to copy them. I have a feeling one of them is going to copy BeReal at some point because it's got just enough popularity that's still underground, but it's still, you know, a force to be reckoned with a little bit. I think overall, if you're gonna be an app conglomerate, you're gonna copy the other ones, do a good job. Like, think outside the box a little. Like, don't just, like, rip it and then put it there. Put a little thought behind it. Have a little strategy, you know? No more bullshit.
I said no more! Bullshit!
In conclusion, what's my conclusion? I don't know. I just think these apps should do a better job at copying each other. They should copy each other not only with more thought and like strategy, but just with more intent. Like, why do users need this other than like, oh, it's on TikTok, we gotta put it on Instagram. But why does Instagram need it? You know, like, why does Twitter need this? And then put a spin on it that's just different enough to make it so that it actually catches on. I will say though, I think it would be really cool if Instagram or TikTok copied Pinterest next. You're probably wondering, why the hell? Well, I think it would be cool. That's why. And I'll tell you why. Imagine if there was a separate tab on Instagram or TikTok where people can pin other people's posts, like make sort of collages, like playlists almost of other people's posts too that they really like. So then not only are these people just like creators, but they become a little bit more humanized as tastemakers. It's like, oh, these are some other creators I like. And then who knows, maybe they can lump their own posts into these like playlists or these pin boards. But I just think it would be cool if on Instagram too, like if just like for your own personal uses, like aside from just like your bookmarks being private, if there was some type of public version of bookmarks where people could see like, oh, tattoos you really like, I don't know, cakes you think are cool, like just your other interests, like things that you would bookmark. I think that would be cool, and I think that would be something that people would be really interested in seeing. I mean, at least in my opinion, I would love to know what jewelry Olivia Rodrigo bookmarks on her Instagram or something. I think that'd be cool, other than just like reposting him on her story. It's like a more permanent taste-making sort of thing. That's just my idea. So Instagram, if you want to take it, TikTok, if you want to take it, take it. But I'll remember, and I'll point back to this video and I'll go, hey, that was my idea. You can't just take it. What's the point of this video? I don't know. What do you think of all the social media apps copying each other? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think they should get a grip and stop? Or do you like it when, you know, Instagram copies TikTok or Twitter copies Clubhouse? Do you like it? Tell me why. Give me your scoop. Give me your hot take. Give me your gossip. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. It would mean so much to me if you gave the channel a little sub, give this video a little like if you liked it, and if you really liked the video, it would be so helpful if you shared it with a friend. You could share it with your mom. You could share it with your friend. You could share it with your mom. You can share it with my mom. I can share it with your mom. Or I can share it with your mom.